Welcome back to Celebrity Scene News. We're here in Laguna Beach, the great place to relax and enjoy tranquility. And with me today is the owner of the Art Hotel, where we're at right now, and that's Gail Duncan, and of course one of the artists to my right, Mr. Randy Morgan. And welcome to Celebrity Scene, guys.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. We're going to use our diaphragms today and let the world know about what a wonderful place you have here for people to come. First of all, an art hotel. I've never been to a hotel that shows art at the same time called the Art Hotel. How did this all happen for you, Gail?
Well, we first of all decided that there's a lot of Laguna Beach Hotel, the name Laguna Beach, so we just want to be at the top of the directory. And we also know the depth of talent in this town, so we just, over the last 6 years, have developed an artist in every room, and the qualifier is that they have to be passionate to be here. So I'm not an artist, I'm just a businesswoman, but I really want to honor the artists here in Laguna.
I heard that you were doing something wonderful for artists, and that was that when they sell their artwork, you give all the money to them, and that helps these starving artists that we have here in Laguna Beach.
Absolutely. They get 100% of whatever sells, and that's my way of honoring them. They've allowed me to have 5 or 6 pieces in every room, and maybe it's not their freshest, but it gives exposure. We have a little story about them in the room, their websites. I encourage the guests to go directly to the artist's website and see their freshest work, and they can get directly with the artist and decide and negotiate, and it's just exposure.
Well, before we talk with Randy, let's talk a little bit about the hotel. What are the amenities here that people can enjoy while they're here in Laguna Beach, about a block from the ocean?
Well, number one, I'm 1 mile north of Laguna Beach, so our kind of consistent guests like to have peace and rest, and then go back to the fine restaurants, go back to Main Beach. We have an absolutely gorgeous beach right across the street, 7 houses down. And then what I get thrilled about is we have probably one of the most beautiful small parks called Crescent Bay Point Park that you see the entire coast of Laguna Beach all the way down to Dana Point. And really, it's such a small park with such a huge view. There's sea lions right there for the kids to see. But our property has 28 rooms. I always say I couldn't handle any more than that because I live and breathe and live right on the property, which I think is nice for guests. They love it when the owner is on the property. And we have 14 rooms with king beds, 14 rooms with double queen, and we have flat screen, microwave, refrigerators, Wi-Fi is free, parking is free. I tell the story that I used to be an auto dealer in an earlier life, so I don't like all the incidentals. So when you hear the rate, it's just taxes on that for the city of Laguna, and you're all done. There are no incidentals.
Absolutely wonderful, because so many times you go to a hotel, you got to pay for parking, like $30 for the night. At the same time, you don't have a beach that's close by, and at the same time, you don't have a refrigerator. You got everything right here. You don't even have to go out really if you don't want to. So that's really excellent. Now let's go to your dear friend, Mr. Randy Morgan, and talk a little bit about your art. You're one of the artists here, Randy. How long have you been an artist?
I've been an artist since I was 5 years old.
Really? Great.
Yeah. You. As far as being an artist, it's like no choice. There was a great movie a few years ago called New York Stories. Nick Nolte started it, and it was a Scorsese 20-minute short, and it was just great. And he said, an artist has no choice. You try to sell cards, you try to be a waiter, but ultimately you should put your energy into being an artist. I met Gail. She's a believer. I'm a believer, and praise the Lord. And Gail and I decided to do the pool area at her hotel, and so I'm honored to be able to do that and tell the Laguna story. I'm the creator of the Waterman's Wall on the side of the Hobie building, downtown Laguna. And,
What building is that again?
The Hobie Surfboard Building.
Hobie Surfboard Building.
Yeah, downtown Laguna, and so I was honored that she hired me to do the pool area at her hotel, and just be one of her artists. She's a great lady. She helps the community. She has a homeless post. What is your thing you do?
Well, I'm on the Housing and Human Services Committee for the city of Laguna, so I'm in the housing business, and the human services side is part of my heart and soul. So
Okay.
I mean, it could happen.
Yeah,
It could happen to any one of us.
For a lot of
So,
different reasons.
I want them to retain their dignity as they get through what they're getting through.
So
And it's really wonderful that what she does with the artists, and I have a gallery that I show in the Forest and Ocean Gallery in Laguna, and you give a big percentage to the gallery owner, but they do a lot for it. But it's great because I see Gail, one of the artists came in when I was here at Christmas, and she gave her the check, and she sold one of her pieces and gave her the check, gave her the entire check. And it's just awesome sometimes as an artist to not have to pay a commission and spend money making the piece. And that's her heart. That's Gail's heart. She's got a wonderful heart. She helps the homeless. She helps people in town. She's at every charity event. And that's what we have a lot of in here in Laguna. We have a lot of people like
Excuse
Gail
me.
that help the community. And that's
another
what-
thing too, there really is no homeless here, in the sense that they all have a place to stay. They don't have to sleep on the beach without a blanket or something like that, right?
Well, it gets pretty crowded, and honestly, the committee's working with 211, which is Orange County, to make sure if there's not enough beds here in town that we know where there are beds for them. So we're just trying to get more and more sophisticated.
Great. Well, now that we've talked about that, let's look at Randy's artwork, and you've seen some of the artwork now. So let us look at this artwork.
Thank you.
And this is Randy's artwork, Randy Morgan.
Okay, this is a piece here. It's called Killer Dana. It's actually at the outside the Forest and Ocean Gallery. It's a 4x8 foot surf piece. I have a surf series that this is Mickey Munoz doing the Quasimodo. This is I have a Hall of Fame of Surfing series I do with Ian Carnes, who was a U.S. surfing coach and a big wave rider. He won the Ducanamoko contest a couple of times in the 70s and did the movie Big Wednesday.
This was in Big Wednesday?
No, he did all the stunt doubles.
Oh, let's
for
have
Gary-
a better
for
look
Gary
at that.
Busey. This is Jerry Lopez riding Pipeline. And then right here, I'm going to show you this one. Let me just zip over to this one right
Okay.
here. That's Ducanamoko.
Alrighty.
On his replica Ducanamoko surfboard from 1927, circa 1927. That's a Duke riding Honolulu. This is Eddie Aikau. And we did the 5 Hawaiians first in the series. And this is Hawaiian Gods. So I show most of my work at the Forest and Ocean Gallery in Laguna, and happy to show some work here at the hotel with Gail.
Now that you've shown these beautiful pieces of work, let us talk a little bit about art. I mean, a singer is a singer. A songwriter is a songwriter. Sometimes they record their concepts in the mind at night on the recorder, and then they lay it down the next morning. An artist paints with passion.
Right.
And that passion is to create a message, if you will.
Right.
And so when you do your work, you think about it first. Is it spontaneous? And is your work, would you say, a message to bring into tranquility to the people? Or is it a work of just showing, shall we say, the beauty of the ocean and the surfing, if not?
Well, the surf series was one thing. I do a lot of different types of sculptures in public art. I'm known for my murals and my storytelling. I was creator of the Waterman's Wall. I did various murals for different cities and visitor centers. But as a storyteller and an artist, I feel that you're trying to evoke a feeling in the person. So it's not necessarily, it doesn't have to always be a story, but you may do things in a certain way in your piece to try to evoke the feeling that you want in a person. Because if you're moving people, whether it's a song, I've seen people cry over a song.
Yes.
And it's, to be a good technical artist, you can have everything be really technical, but I try to set things up and in my mural and tell a story, but then I always leave room for a little magic. I was doing when I was doing one of the Hawaiian series, I was doing Buttons, who was a really friendly guy in Hawaii, as one of the 5 Hawaiians in the Hall of Fame series. And I put the old Royal Hawaiian in there because I wanted to put a landmark. And then I couldn't think of how to finish the piece off between Buttons surfing and the Royal Hawaiian in Honolulu. I was trying to get this vibe. And then I was in the studio at 5 in the morning. How am I going to finish this piece? It was in balance, and it was a bas-relief bronze. And then all of a sudden, Somewhere Over the Rainbow came on. Izzy, Big Izzy, the Hawaiian guy, the big 600-pound Hawaiian guy that
Yes.
sings Somewhere Over the Rainbow. And the hair stood up on my arm. So it's a little bit, as photography or filmmaking or song, it's a little bit of planning, and it's, you just develop it as it goes along. But you always have to leave a little bit of room for a little magic, and you got to be willing to not try to. I don't try to think it out all the way, and then just wait until the end. It's kind of like when you're making a mural. It's kind of like being a composer. You put in the drums, you put in the bass, you put in the violins, and then it starts developing, and then then you're hearing the whole thing. So that's the way I try to do it. I spent a lot of time in the early 70s down in Mexico City looking at the Orozcos and the Diego Riveras, and I was called to them, and I really wasn't ever planning on being a muralist or a storyteller, and I didn't know why, so it kind of foreshadowed my later life. So here as a 60-year-old man, I'm starting to do these larger murals, and so it's just kind of far out. It's fun to be an artist. You wake up with, I'm an artist and a surfer, so I guess I got strike two, when I wake up in the morning. but there always seems to be enough there, and God provides, and I have a lot of great fans and a lot of support from my people.
So here we are at the Art Hotel, Gail Duncan, Randy Morgan, and before we leave, you've seen the magic, you've got a taste of some of the art here, and the rooms are beautiful. But now, for those of you that have kids, and for those of you that have a bit of a problem being depressed in life, there is an answer to that, and that answer is, how do you overcome obstacles? What is the power in you that allows you to do that? Well, first of all, Gail Duncan will tell you her viewpoint, and then Randy will tell you his. Gail?
Boy, I kind of love that. My answer to that would be like, tomorrow or the next day, I'm going to have a challenge in front of me that's just part of life, whether it be business, personal, whatever. So I love to be an encourager to others today in any way that I can, and honestly be a blessing so that I get that encouragement back when I need it in a day or two.
Okay.
So that's my recipe.
All righty. Randy?
Well, my recipe, I just think it's about love. I love what I do. I also try to love other people, and if we just all try to love each other a little bit, and life isn't that serious. It just seems serious sometimes because it can be overwhelming if you're like looking at it as everything can be a mountain. But I'm a believer, so there's two words in the Bible that are kind of what I kind of go by, and there's two sets of these two words. One of them is fear not. You do everything you can do, and you just turn it over to God, and you do the best you can do, and He works the rest of it out. And the other two words are, that's fear not, and then but God. There's so many stories in the Bible where these people are going to do all this stuff, and it goes on and on and on, and then two words that change everything in the story, but God. So you better leave room for but God, and that's what I try to do. You just have to live every day at a time, and it is one day at a time, to borrow an analogy. And you have to plan. I mean, you can't just go out and live for one day at a time, and you have no life insurance, no health insurance. But you have to take care of things. But I find if I get too far ahead of myself, then I get in fear and I start worrying. And being an artist is kind of a leap of faith. I mean, you have to keep practicing your craft forever and get better and better and better. And I'm sure songwriters will tell you that. I'm sure Eric Clapton, I heard, he sets up these concerts and he does these great albums, but if he doesn't go in his room every day and play his scales and play his guitar for a couple of hours alone, he gets really squirrely. Mm-hmm. And that's the way it is. You have to just, if you're doing what God made you to do, put you on this earth and gave you the talents to do, I think that's everyone's calling. And it doesn't matter what you do, if you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, you're going to find happiness, and you're going to do a good job, and you're going to be taken care of.
If you would like some artwork, and if you would like to know about the hotel, there is a website. Gail, what is your website?
It's www.arthotellagunabeach.com.
www.arthotellagunabeach.com. That's pretty easy. And Randy, do you have a website?
Yes, I do. It's the RandyMorganCollection.com.
RandyMorganCollection.com. Two beautiful people, Laguna Beach. What's not to like? right here for Celebrity Scene News, I'm Pete Allman, and
Gail Duncan.
And Randy Morgan.
bye for now. Keep your visions positive.